You know that feeling, right? You finish a book, you feel that little spark of aha, and then, like a week later, poof, it's gone. You remember reading it, but the big ideas, the important stuff, it's all vanished. It's super frustrating, but listen, it's not your fault. And today, we're going to fix that. So, meet the villain of our story. This thing right here is called the forgetting curve, and it basically shows how fast our brains just dump new information if we don't try to hold on to it. That massive drop you see, yeah, that's what we're up against. But here's the cool part. The solution is hiding in plain sight on this very graph. See how each review flattens the curve out? That right there is our secret weapon. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to bend that curve. And let's be totally clear about something. This has nothing to do with having a good memory. Memory isn't a gift you're born with. It's a skill you build. We're about to walk through a simple framework that'll help you bend that curve way up, making what you read a permanent part of how you think. So where do we even begin? Well, funny enough, the process of remembering actually starts before you even read the first sentence. It's all about getting your brain ready for what's about to come. Think of this as a two-step warm-up. First, you just survey the material. Spend, 5 minutes just skimming the table of contents, the chapter headings, the summary. Get the lay of the land. Then, and this is the clever part, you turn those headings into questions. So if a chapter is called The Forgetting Curve, your question is, okay, what is the forgetting curve and why should I care? And here's why that little trick is so powerful. By doing this prep work, you're building a mental framework. It's like you're setting up a filing cabinet in your mind ahead of time. So now, when you start reading, your brain knows exactly where to put every new piece of information. You've gone from being a passive observer to an active hunter, looking for the answers to your questions. Okay, so your brain is primed and ready. Now it's time to actually read. But we're not just going to read. No. We are going to read like a detective on the hunt for clues. And this slide, this says it all, really. On the left, you've got passive reading. Just letting your eyes float across the page. That's a one-way ticket to Forgetville. But on the right, you have active reading. This is a conversation. You're arguing with the author in your head, connecting ideas to your own life, and constantly rephrasing things in your own words. It's a whole different game. All right. Now for a golden rule of active reading. I want you to look at this number, 20%. What on earth could that mean? Well, that's the absolute maximum amount of text you should ever highlight in a book. I know, that sounds totally nuts, right? Most of our books are just a sea of yellow highlighter. But here's the logic, and it's brilliant. Over-highlighting is a trap. It feels productive, but it's really a form of mental laziness. It lets you avoid the hard work of deciding what's actually important. By forcing yourself to find just the single most important sentence in a paragraph, you're making your brain engage, evaluate, and prioritize. That's the real work. And here are a few more tools for your detective kit. The biggest one here? Paraphrasing. After you read a key section, just pause. Look away from the page and try to summarize it in one sentence, from memory. And of course, you gotta treat your reading time like it's sacred. Phone on silent, browser tabs closed. Give the text your full attention. Your memory will thank you for it. Okay, so we've prepped the brain, we've read like a detective, but now we're at the most important part. This is the phase that takes all that work and locks it in for the long haul. If you remember only one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this: active recall. This is not the same as rereading your notes. Rereading is passive, it's easy. Active recall is a mental workout. It's the act of pulling information out of your brain without looking at the source. It's forcing yourself to answer the question, okay, what were the main points of that chapter I just read? And you want to see the payoff? Bam, here it is. The research is incredibly clear on this. People who study using active recall, basically self-testing, remember about 50% more information long-term than people who just passively reread. That struggle, that effort to retrieve the memory, is what makes it stronger. So how do we make this even more powerful? We combine it with something called spaced repetition. It's pretty simple. You use active recall to test yourself, but you do it at longer and longer intervals. Maybe you review something after one day, then after a week, then a month. You're refreshing the memory right as it's about to fade, which makes it incredibly strong. So what's a fantastic way to practice active recall and really know if you understand something? Let me introduce you to one of my favorite mental tools ever, the Feynman technique. It's named after the physicist Richard Feynman, and the core idea is simple and profound. If you can't explain something in simple terms, you don't really understand it.
Here's how you do it. You take a concept you just learned, grab a blank sheet of paper, and try to explain it as if you were teaching it to a 12-year-old. No jargon, just simple language. I promise you, you will immediately see where your explanation gets shaky and fuzzy. Those are your knowledge gaps. So you go back to the book, you fill in those gaps, and then you try to simplify your explanation one more time. It's the ultimate test of understanding. All right, so we've got all these amazing techniques, but this last section kind of elevates the whole discussion. We're moving beyond tactics and into the mindset that ties it all together. This is how we go from just remembering facts to actually building wisdom. And this quote from the legendary Charlie Munger, man, it just nails it. Knowledge shouldn't just be a pile of isolated facts. True understanding comes from building what he calls a latticework of mental models, a web of interconnected ideas in your head. And what this really means is, every time you learn something new, you have to actively ask yourself, how does this connect to something I already understand? Where have I seen this idea before in a different context? When you link a new idea to an old one, you're building multiple roads to that piece of information. It becomes integrated, not isolated. And all of this is powered by a certain kind of mindset. You can think of it in 3 parts. The engine is just deep, genuine curiosity. The mindset is that core belief we talked about, that memory is a skill you can build, not a gift. And the fuel, well, that's just patience and persistence. It's about knowing that real knowledge is built slowly, over time, not by cramming. Because when you put all of this together, the techniques, the mindset, something really amazing happens. Reading stops being this fleeting act of just consuming information. It actually becomes a lasting influence on the way you think, the way you see the world, and the way you connect ideas. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. You have the tools now. You have the whole framework. The only question left is, what new idea are you going to go connect to your lattice work today?